Hi, welcome back to the channel. Today I want to talk about why I waited until I was 58 years old to have the gastric sleeve surgery, vertical gastric sleeve. And the answer is pretty simple. I really did not wait. I actually tried before. But before we get into that, I'm Suki. Welcome to They Call Me Suki. If you are new, welcome. If you're returning, welcome back. So, I really want to talk about why I took the surgery at 58 and how it has affected me. I'm not going to get into a whole lot of specifics because this is an additional video for this week. So, the reason I waited until I was 58 is because I've tried 3 other times. This is the fourth time that I've tried to get this surgery. And the first time was probably over 20 years ago. I know it was over 20 years ago. And I really didn't have that much to lose. I think I had about 40 to 50 pounds to lose. And that was before I got married. And I will have been married 21 years in a few weeks in July 11th to be exact. So the first time I tried to get the surgery at the same hospital, and it was very, very harder that time. Back then, you had to actually go to live classes. They gave you a big binder. It was several weeks of classes going to the facility, which is a distance from me. About now, it takes about an hour to hour and a half drive to get there. Back then, it wasn't as much traffic, but it was still close to like 45 minutes to an hour drive. So I went through all the classes. I did the psych eval. I did everything. Insurance was contacted. I had a surgery date. And when we got down to me going for surgery, I got a call saying that the surgery was covered. However, the 2 doctors that they had that performed the procedures were not covered under my insurance. So I couldn't get the surgery. So I didn't move forward at that time. And like I said, that was way over 21 years ago. It was before I got married. And I don't even think I was talking to my husband back then. So I continued on and went back to Weight Watchers. I have had a weight struggle most of my life. So in college, I lost about 40 to 50 pounds and I got down to almost my goal weight. I think I was probably maybe 8 pounds from my goal weight, but I maintained my weight for over 8 years. I got down to a size 2. Mind you, I am only 4'9". So a size 2 was perfect for me at that age in college. So I worked out a lot. I did Weight Watchers. Weight Watchers was always my go-to thing to lose weight. And I've tried other things like Jenny Craig. Pretty much you name it, I've tried it. And then after losing all that weight and then getting into working, I ended up with a back injury because I worked out twice a day doing high impact aerobics, which was the thing back then. So I ended up in traction and all this other stuff. So I really couldn't exercise heavily. So I picked up a little bit of weight, but I got comfortable to a certain weight. And I think I gained weight, but I went up to a size 6, which was comfortable for me. Um, I never thought that I could get past that weight because I maintained it for so long. But then I had this brainy idea to become a CPA in my late 20s, early 30s, which took me 3 years to accomplish in terms of passing the exam, and then 2 more years to get my audit hours. So about 5 years of me focusing on career and not my health. And when I went into a firm, I could not exercise the way I wanted to. They wanted us to eat out every day. So I began to gain weight. So I did get over and I ended up going into like a size 9 to 11, which was the size that I lost from initially in college. I was a size 11 at 4'9". So keep that context. I'm only 4'9". So after I got my license, I went into another firm, but then I decided to go and work for myself. I got laid off. So I ended up working for myself for 10 years. But in the midst of that, I was in a small office that was very cold. I would see clients whenever I wanted to. So I started wearing sweats. Yes, sweats. And then in the middle of this, I got married. So I didn't cook at the time. We were eating out every day. And my husband is a foodie, and so am I. I tried to eat healthy, but remember, I wasn't cooking. I had an office that was next door to a Burger King and a Denny's restaurant. So I ate there. So I was eating out breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And so I began to pick up weight. So then the area that my office in, I wasn't far from like malls and other grocery stores. So I started going to Ralph's, which is Kroger, Ralph's in California, and getting salads from the salad bar, really trying to work on my weight, but still not working out like I used to because I was running my business and I had a lot of clients. I was doing a lot of work. And then in the middle of all of that, my parents got sick. So then I'm eating junk. I'm stressed. I'm eating cookies and all this stuff, not realizing, and I'm wearing sweats every day, not realizing I'm gaining all of this weight. And it got to be pretty serious, well over the double digits. And then I started to have knee pain. So then I started to work out a little bit, walking at the beach, lost some weight, lost about 50 pounds, but still not nearly as small as I was before all of these things happened. So as the years went on, the weight continued to pile on. I lose, I gain, I lose, I gain. Weight Watchers over and over and over and over. Okay, so fast forward, a lot of people get sick in my family. I'm taking care of them. Um, and a lot of loss. And then my husband ends up having a stroke. So prior to my husband having the stroke, I signed up for the weight loss surgery again because this time it was a lot of weight. Not nearly as much as it was this time, but at that time I was approaching 200 pounds, which was very scary for me. So I signed up for weight loss surgery again, went through all the classes, had everything I needed to get the surgery. My husband has two massive strokes. I don't know what's happening with him. So I didn't have the surgery. I had to cancel the surgery because my husband had two massive strokes. So I probably should have gone on and had the surgery because he was in and out of the hospital and in facilities for like a year before he came home. So it was probably enough time to do the surgery. But knowing what I know now, it would not have been a good thing for me to have had that surgery while he was recovering from the stroke. So I didn't get the surgery the second time. So after he's home, I'm still stressed out now. I'm trying to take care of my husband. I'm not taking care of myself. Pandemic happens. I'm trying to work. I got laid off in the midst of all of this. And so there's no work during the pandemic. So finally, I tried to restart my business. Caregivers stop showing up to work. So I can't restart my business because my caregivers are not coming to work. So I'm using all the money that I have saved in my severance to take care of us because my caregivers are not coming and I'm not able to build a business, not really able to work. So finally, I'm out of money. So I have to go back to work, had to put the business on hold again, as well as not being able to really get my surgery, which I was planning on doing once he was back home. So once all of this is done, I sign up for the surgery again. This is the third time. But in the middle of this, I had back injuries and I found out that I had cervical spine problems. And this is where the ACDF surgery came in 2 years ago. That surgery was postponed for almost 3 years because I didn't have anybody to care for my husband. So, but I went on trying to get the weight loss surgery, because now not only am I approaching 200 pounds, I'm over 200 pounds. And go back, I'm only 4'9". So I was supposed to get that, but I wasn't losing any weight. So they put me on a lot of, this is 2 years ago, actually 3 years ago, just before the ACF surgery. But the ACF surgery ended up happening because it became very serious. They said if I did not have the surgery, I could have become a quadriplegic. So that had to trump everything. So ACF surgery was pushed forward, found some place for my husband to go, and I had to postpone yet again for the third time the gastric sleeve surgery because my cervical spine became more important. So 2 years later, here we are, now still gaining weight after finding out I have adrenal insufficiency syndrome on steroids. Did the trizepatide, the Zepbound, did not lose any weight, started gaining weight, gained 60 pounds. I had lost 30 pounds for my ACDF surgery, which I thought, great, now I don't have to have surgery. I can do this on my own. I get home, I have low back pain. I can't stand. I'm in excruciating pain. I can't cook for myself. I have no help. So I'm gaining weight. So to give me the Zepbound, which was supposed to help me, but also at the same time, I am now on steroids. So I gained weight, now approaching nearly 300 pounds. Too much for my small frame. I started to have so many problems. So this is why I waited until I was 58. I went for it, didn't do a lot of research because I felt like after 3 tries, I knew everything. But after having this surgery, I didn't know nearly as much as I thought I knew. If I had known what I know now about this surgery, I would have been so hard on myself. I would have worked out so hard. I would not have had this surgery because it has not been good to me so far. And I don't even feel like I've lost that much weight. It's been 5 weeks compared to a lot of people that I'm seeing. And I'm not trying to compare myself to other people, but I've only lost 20 pounds in 5 weeks. I could have done that without surgery and without being on steroids because I have done it in the past. But it's too late. It's already done. I'm dealing with a lot, still trying to recover. I will have another video at the end of the week to go over my week 5 progress and where I'm at and how I'm doing. I'm back to work. Unfortunately, my doctor's office dropped the ball and I really don't need to be at work. I'm still in a lot of pain. I'm having a lot of gas. I can barely eat, can barely get in my water. I'm still trying. And this is just only 16 ounces. So anywho, that's the reason why I waited until I was 58. It wasn't that I really waited until I was 58. It was over 20 years ago. I was in my 30s when I first tried and a lot lighter, not as heavy. So would it have been easier on me? Maybe the recovery would have been an easier process at a younger age because I know I have nieces, people, friends whose children have had it in their 20s and 30s, and they have not had nearly as many issues as I have had. So the only thing I can attribute this to is age and also the fact that I did have a UTI and I was on antibiotics, which can mess with your stomach. So that's my story on why I waited until I was 58 to have the VSG surgery. At this point, would I recommend the surgery to anyone that's looking to do it? No, I would not. I would say do your best to lose it naturally and just keep trying. This has been a nightmare for me. And all I want to do is have a regular meal. I'm only able to eat 1 to 2 ounces of food, protein first. I have not even been able to eat vegetables. I just want to have a normal meal, which I cannot do right now. So that's the end of the video. Thank you for watching. Look out for the new video, another video coming at the end of the week for my week 5 progress report or progress. Thank you. Talk to you soon.